Hi all, and welcome to the channel. Well, today I was hoping to be out in the series, but the weather is not looking so good. I'll just show you. So I'm just up here at Marshall's Land Rover, Jaguar Land Rover in Greenham, and we're here to see the Defender, the new Defender. I'm not going to say anything about it just yet. We'll go and see what it looks like. Certainly, don't know. Not completely made up my mind about what this is yet to us, but for a moment, we're here, and so we'll see you inside. Welcome to the new Defender. Yes, here it is, and apologies, yes, no video. I was completely distracted by other people that I ended up talking to, and also found as I tried to do certain videos that people would just come up and start talking to you. So I'm afraid you're going to have to listen to my voice and stare at this picture. I will move on to some other videos and I'll talk over those. But unfortunately this is what you'll get. So first impressions to me, this is a big car. I'm not sure if I was expecting anything or not, but to be fair, it is significantly bigger than I expected. Now, does it mean it's a big car? No, it's not really. But as you walked in to see this car, there was a number of Range Rovers, Range Rover Sport, SVO, there was a Velar and a Range Rover as you walked through, and then you saw this car. So yeah, it's definitely bigger than expected. Next, I'm going to show you one of the pieces of video content I do have, and we'll talk through some other bits and pieces there. But what I want to do for the moment, I'm going to drop a piece of information on you, but I'm going to distract you with an interior door card. Now, this is very rugged, and it looks kind of Defender-ish. It's not sort of too clean and cut and nice like the Discoveries and the Range Rovers. But what I want you to do is, as you watch the next piece of video, have a look at the overall shape of the car and tell me what you see, or have a think about what you see, and let's see when it gets to the end of the video and I give you my interpretation of what I've seen today. Let's see if they match up. So two burning questions. Is this a Land Rover? And is this a Defender? Looking at with this view, the rounded shoulders, the windscreen angle, yes, to me this is a Land Rover. But I'll park the question around the Defender until later. Looking at the specs of this car that I saw, this is a base model, comes in at £45,000. This model had a couple of extra additions onto it, things like bigger wheels and off-road tyres. This also reminds me of when the 86 and 88 inch came out and the windscreen was made smaller to include bulkhead vents. And also when you went to the Series 2 and the Series 2A, the windscreens and side screens were certainly a lot smaller to include that higher shoulder. As you can see that in this car as well. Coming around the back, we have the traditional side opening door with the spare mounted on the back. This one has been upgraded. Just there was the electronic tow bar. That's £1,000, which is only 180 more than the manual one. So maybe why would you bother with the manual one? We've also got, as you can see on this one, the upgraded tyres. This is the off-road tyres, and this is the 20-inch upgraded wheel on this one. I think you can get these in a high spec if you just select these, but these have been over and above the steel wheels, or I think these are 20-inch. Now, coming into the back, we can see it's been well appointed with rubber and hard surfaces. Looking in under here, there's plenty of storage under here. The white tube you're seeing there, I actually pulled it out, is a gasket sealer. So it's good to see that traditional Land Rovers still probably leak. Here we have, here's the buttons to raise and lower, and this one is the button to activate the tow bar. So if we sit here and watch, you'll see that slowly come out, drop out, and there you go, lock in place. Very nice. And click of the button and it'll all just go back straight underneath. Very clean and tidy. Looking back up into the car, here's a still shot with all the seats down. Nice flat cargo bay with lots of location points for tie downs, which is quite nice. I've used a still shot. This is off Land Rover's website, just so there's no issues around copyright. And again, because I didn't have time to get lots of good footage. Just having a look at the back of the car now. There are a lot of design cues as well. Looking at the broad shoulders again, the height of the car, obviously nice centered wheel in the back there, so no asymmetrical designs here in this car, that's for sure. And we'll look down underneath the car, we'll see again you can see the electronic tow bar, the compact exhaust system, and suspension components that look somewhat familiar. We'll move inside the car now. I got a lot of interruptions when I was videoing there, so I'm just going to be using some footage from Land Rover themselves. So at the front, we see some design cues here from a car as early as the 86-inch, 1954, with the very open style dash, which went on for quite a while. Also, the fact that the dashboard is bolted in, even though today it is a display. There is very similar design cues going on here. We've got the luxury of heaters in this one, climate control even, and a number of other great features, modern features, like the power points, the USB-C, USB-A power points down inside, just underneath the heater matrix. The interesting thing about these sockets is that they don't seem to have covers on them, unlike the power sockets in the back, which will be interesting to see if they get clogged up with dirt, etc. over time. One other thing that's in there is a SIM card slot, which turns the whole car into a wireless hotspot. So very handy, I guess, if you want to pay for everyone else's Wi-Fi usage. Moving into the back, you have USB 5-volt sockets in the back of each seat. There's also another bigger flap which hides another power socket, which is for a specific accessory available from Land Rover. In the center console, you have 2 more USB slots and also your typical 12-volt plug-in points as well. Due to the lack of footage that I've been able to get this time round, you're going to have to stare at me while I talk about what I think of this vehicle. So firstly, apologies for the lack of footage. It does make it a little bit harder to I think, for you guys to really work out whether this is the car that you would like or not. So thinking about the car, like I said earlier, is it a Land Rover? For me, yes, it still is. From that moment I saw it in the front, looking at the back, the design cues across the shoulders and the back, and even design cues in the front of the car. It's not to everyone's taste, but they have tried to pick up different components from the early series right through to the Defender today. Another thing you didn't see that is in there is the floor is just vinyl. There's no carpets in there. This particular model had, I guess you could call it carpet mats, but they're not really, obviously. Everything's pretty much nylon these days. So you could argue that, getting in and out with your dirty boots is not going to be a major problem. Unless, of course, you go for a slightly different upgrade package. Right at the beginning of the video, I asked you to have a think about the shape, and I didn't say this, but if you squinted your eyes and had a look at certain bits and pieces, and also when I did first walk in and see it, I was talking to a colleague from the cricket club who was there, and funnily enough, just outside the showroom, right at the time, and here's the big giveaway, a Discovery 4 drove up and was parked literally outside. And you looked at the Discovery 4, and then you looked at this thing, and the thought that went through my mind at the time is this Defender what the Discovery 5 should have been? The Discovery 5 seems to have gone down the road of the Range Rover styling, instead of kind of following that more rugged Discovery Defender kind of style. Because I think if you look at the Jaguar Land Rover designs and over the time, series Defender, series became the Defender, Yes, the Discovery came along. Discovery, just the term itself. And it was used obviously a lot in the Camel Trophy competitions as well. So not just Defenders, Discoveries. Still had that rugged view. I had a Discovery 2 myself, a V8. It was a great car in a lot of respects, but it was still very much a four-wheel drive, very much a bit of a truck. But it was great for that, and it was great for those things that it did. So is that where I see this car? Do I call it a Defender? There's enough cues in there to say this is a modern Defender. There are. Like I said, the design cues from the series, the design cues from to some extent the Defender itself, the way they've tried to ruggedize certain parts of it and make it more of that utilitarian kind of vehicle. All of the power supplies in there, to me also, if you want to drive from London to South Africa today, you've got all these new devices, whether it's phones, tablets, satellite devices, satellite trackers, etc., GPS trackers. They all need to be powered. And so the myriad of power sockets is actually a positive thing in my view, and definitely not something you'd necessarily, you definitely need it in an urban vehicle, but there's a lot of them. So I think it's a pretty good nod and a pretty good attempt to be a Defender. But I can't help thinking that if this had been the Discovery 5, that I think people would have really liked it. But anyway, it'd be interesting to hear your thoughts. Please post them in the comments below around your thoughts on this vehicle. But as I said, just the size of it, it's just so it looks about the same size as Discovery 4. Again, looking at the back of it, like underneath the suspension arms, it just reminded me of the Discovery. The back tailgate, again, having had a Discovery 2, very much the same sort of thing. And when I was talking to a couple of people there, opening the gate, the door at the back, it's not too bad with that massive wheel on it. Then as you go to pull it shut, you can definitely feel the weight of that wheel on the back. So as yet, nowhere near as bad as a Discovery 2 was. It's definitely a lot better, but still, that's just little memories, I guess, of having these cars and the little foibles between all of these cars. And it triggers memories of having different and older Land Rovers. So that's why, for me, A, I think it definitely is a Land Rover. And B, does it fit somewhere in that Defender Discovery range? Yes, it does. Will people still like it? Hard to know. The footage, the video I was taking in the back, which you would have seen earlier with the USB sockets, I cut off the end of it. There's a gentleman that hopped in the driver's seat and just literally turned to me and said, "So will a farmer buy this vehicle?" My immediate response, without thinking about it, was, yes, he'll buy it to go to church on Sunday. So, interesting. We'll see. I think over time, I really do hope that this is successful for Land Rover. They need some success. And for me, being a Land Rover lover, and I think, for many of you out there, we need to have some form of success for them, so that in the future there are vehicles that we will still want to use and love. Now, being the fact that I've just done up a Series 1, and you look at the simplicity and the ease, you kind of still want to have that type of vehicle. But of course, these days, with safety legislation and regulations, you're not going to get it. So this is, I guess, the next best thing. Anyway, that's my views. And like I said before, please leave your comments below and let me know what you think. And if you've had a chance to see it, because unless you've really, really seen it and sat in it, that's when you'll make up your mind. And hopefully, hopefully you get to take it for a drive as well. But we'll see. And Also 007 movies coming out with a few Defenders flying through the air, being rolled around. We'll see how they survive in that as well. Anyway, thank you for watching. Please remember to press like if you liked it. And if you got this far, thanks very much for watching. Bye-bye.